Hey, this is Gaming Through the Ages, and today we are taking a look at Sakura Taisen, also known as Sakura Wars, which is a Japanese Sega Saturn import game which was not released in the US, but was an absolute juggernaut in Japan, spawning tons of sequels, an anime, a movie, books, manga, all sorts of things. And eventually, a couple of the games did make it over to America, I believe on the PS2. But overall, a lot of the series has stayed in Japan. Well, to begin with, Sakura Taisen looks absolutely stunning on the Saturn, with the 2D graphics and animation being stellar. Now, I wasn't sure what to expect from this game. I got it when I picked up several of the cheapest Sega Saturn imports I could find, and a lot of the exclusive Saturn imports happen to be adventure games. And this is an adventure game, so it's mostly text. There is voice acting in it, but of course it's all in Japanese, and it's a lot of Japanese reading. However, there are several translation guides available, and I haven't checked, but I would be very surprised if there wasn't a fully translated version online somewhere. Sakura Taisen, being an adventure game, has to rely heavily on story, and the story of the game takes place in the Taisho era in Japan, which is the early 1900s. However, it's a fictional version where steam technology has kind of risen beyond what it did in truth, and there are large mechs that are used as war machines. And you play as a character called Ogami, and actually the game is sort of a dating simulator. There are several characters you meet, and you'll be given opportunities to respond to them in different ways. However, it's timed, so you might have 3 choices and only 2 or 3 seconds to make your choice, and those choices do affect the story directly, and the story changes depending on what choices you make. Now, the most interesting thing about Sakura Taisen is the girls you meet all work for something known as the Imperial Assault Force, which is a war force that utilizes those mechs to fight demon attacks. And the girls who work on the assault force go undercover as actresses, so most of the game takes place in this theater that you're constantly wandering around in and finding the different characters and talking to each of them to try to progress the story. And a lot of the fun of the game is wandering these areas and talking to the different characters and having the story unfold through character interaction. So naturally, this game is a very character-driven story. The actual war segments are turn-based tactical strategy sections, which are really rather basic and easy to follow. Essentially, you can move, do a special attack, heal, things like that per turn. There's not that much to do. However, different characters' abilities increase or improve in these war sections based on those questions that you answer during the adventure segments, which can either raise a character's fondness for you or reduce it. And you can also raise their fondness for you by protecting them during these battle segments. Now, I've enjoyed this game quite a bit since I got it. I'm not a big fan of games like dating sims, but I think adventure games with a good story can be a lot of fun. And I like strategy games, and I've never seen the two things combined, which I think probably has a lot to do with the success of this series, is they combine these two things in a very fun and enjoyable way. Now, of course, if you don't understand any Japanese, this game would be hard to derive any enjoyment from, because a lot of the enjoyment is through the story and the character interactions. However, if you're willing to use a translation guide, the game isn't overly complex or difficult to move through. You can get the first game easily under $10 from what I've seen.